The fourth round of the season marks halfway for the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada. Fitting then for a trip halfway around the world from home at Spielberg, Austria's Red Bull Ring. Welcome back to the fourth round of the championship. Welcome to the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by DJ Clark as we near the halfway point in this 8-round excursion. DJ, 40 of Canada's best drivers competing with their Porsche centers, all for glory and big prizes.
All for glory, all for big prizes, and no better place to do it than here at Spielberg. Kyle, this track is going to be fast. This is going to be very, very flowing as well. Watch for plenty of overtakes around here and plenty of areas for that draft to really come into play. This
is a fast racetrack, one of the fastest on the calendar. You really slow down only for 2 corners. That's corner number 1, and that is Niki Lauda curve, and then up at the top, that's corner number 3. That's another great passing opportunity, other area where you really slow down the car. Everywhere else, though, you're going very, very quickly around this course. Spielberg, Austria has a population of about 5,000 people. This racetrack was built as configured in 1969. A couple changes along the way. 2.68 miles here at the Red Bull Ring at Spielberg, Austria. So DJ, welcome aboard. Heading down into qualifying here momentarily. And as always, the drivers, if they would like to reset their car, they have to come down to the pit lane, get a fresh set of tires put on the car, and head right back out on the racetrack. A really important session to set the grid for our 2 races, our sprint race and then our 30-minute longer race tonight.
Yeah, and even though this is a circuit where overtaking is on the easier side, Kyle, you still really want to put yourself up into prime position, in main part because coming down into these first couple of corners, it may be a wide open section of track, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. We see a couple of cars lying prone across the circuit, and you want to be up towards the front of the field to make sure you don't get any draft breaks going on in the rest of the field and find yourself way out of touch.
Yeah, certainly it's going to be an important session. Drafting here, as you mentioned, but also staying out of trouble is going to be a big part of this week. This high-intensity racetrack all starts with that run down to Lauda curve. You see that corner apex down there at turn number 1. It is a funnel. It will get you into trouble. But the drivers that haven't gotten themselves into trouble so far, let's have a look here at our point standings coming in to round number 4, DJ. So far, it's Racine Fizui at the top of the board for Porsche Center Rive Sud, 259 points over Antoine Lacharite.
Yeah, and there you see behind them, it's a pretty big gap going back to Andrew Caron and Phil Bouchard, Guillaume Levesque, Matt Adams there in a close little battle as well. There's plenty of spaces to be gained, though, but I've got to say, Fizui really putting on a masterclass here on just how to gather points up in these early races.
Suelio Almeida and Alex Ellis for the Porsche Center Markham, 8th and 9th, right running together. I know that they'd like to be a little bit closer towards the front, so we'll keep an eye on them. Looking down through the rest of the order here, there's Ian Guénon Renault for North Toronto in 15th place. Down to the bottom of the top 20, Enzo Johansson, Justin Ream, other drivers that we've seen be in the mix. We need a little bit of work to do for these drivers back here, 21 through 30 in the points. DJ coming into round 4.
Yeah, they're going to have a lot of work to do, but there's some good, quick names down here as well, and that means that we could see some of them jump their way up the order. A lot of these drivers just found themselves in a little bit of trouble in the earlier races, and that's what put them down in the standings. They just need one good race to get them back up to the top, and we could be having a different conversation altogether.
Yeah, certainly something we could be having a conversation about a little bit later. Let's go up and check out our current qualifying running order. Ian Guénon Renault is the top driver right now with a 1:32.309. And how about Brody Goebel in the 69, second place in his Porsche Center Vancouver machine?
Yeah, very impressive there from the newcomer. We talked about him a couple of times in the last few rounds. It's really and truly been an impressive run from Brody. He's had some bad luck when it comes to the race itself, but clearly has the pace in that number 69 machine. He has been very, very quick in qualifying.
Yeah, there's Brody Goebel, and his previous lap was his best lap. We'll continue to see times get a little bit quicker throughout the day. How about Roman Yolo jumping up to second place and more times going up? Zoran Radosavich in the number 34. He goes to the top here with 15 minutes left in qualifying. Still a long, long way to go.
Still a long way to go, but you're seeing one of the reasons why drivers are able to get a good time, and that is because of the draft around here. Now, you have got to make sure that you are tucked up behind another car. Yes, you're going to lose a little bit of time going through Sector 2, going down through Rauch and Worth, and in that infield section where you're going to lose just a little bit courtesy of the aero wash, but you will gain all of that back up and then some on these long straightaways by staying in the slipstream of the driver in front of you.
Here's a driver to keep an eye on, Guillaume Levesque in the 888 car. He's one that we know is going to jump towards the top of the order here late in qualifying and surprise everybody. He's had some decent qualifying runs as we ride on board with them now and get a decent idea what the Team Lauzon driver is going to be up to tonight.
Yeah, let's see what he is able to do. As you said, at this point, not able to set a time, but he's got a nice little toe there from Antoine Lacherie in front of him, so that's certainly going to help him out a little bit. In this long draft train, everybody going to be dealing with the same amount of dirty air and the same amount of slipstream. It's just all a matter of making sure you make the few corners on this circuit absolutely perfect.
And let's talk about track limits here, DJ. Can't step too far out of bounds. You'll get yourself in trouble, certainly. Here at this racetrack, you can go 4 off a couple of places without going too far, but that's 4 off the white line. You get some curbing in a couple corners, just like this final turn. That's turn number 10. That's basically all you get, though. You can't get too greedy out there.
No, you certainly can't. And look at that. Look at Levesque up to the top of the charts there with a 131.327. And crucially, his teammate, Antoine Lacherie, about 23 hundredths off of him. So clearly, this train of cars right now, they've got some speed in them.
Yeah, and Lacherie's right ahead of him there in the number 21. A 131.351, just 23 thousandths of a second off of Levesque. So a really good start for him as well.
Yeah, very, very good starts here for both of these drivers. Let's see if they're going to be able to put it together there. That is Lacherie on your screen right now. Currently second in the qualifying order. Fazui holding on behind in third place, about 0.3 of a second back. But other than that, it's some very, very small gaps up and down this field.
Yeah, there's Racine Fazui dropping down into Schlossgold. That's turn number 4. Another fairly tight corner, but it opens up on exit. Sweeps into turn 5. And then turn 6, as you'll see him here, 5 is the right-hander, turn 6 is the left-hander, turn 7 is that's Worth Curve. And another corner that opens up with a lot of runoff on corner exit that you can use to launch yourself down to turn number 9. A very fast section here. You have to get greedy up on the curbs to make speed. And Fazui right now just 3/10 off the current provisional pole sitter right now. Zoran Radisavage, though, with that quick lap early in the session as he comes back down to pit lane, still resides in 4th.
Yeah, and with about half of the session done here, this is the time that we've traditionally seen drivers come down into pit lane and take those fresh set of tires. As you said at the beginning here, drivers not only able to reset the car and automatically take a tow back down into pit lane. If they want to come back in and get new tires on the car, they have got to do that manually. And so that'll take a couple of laps out of their qualifying attempts, but it certainly makes for some fantastic action out on the circuit.
Here's Chris McGraw in the number 379, runs 19th, mid-pack right now in the Porsche Center North Toronto car. You see him chasing a teammate just ahead of him, as now looks like he's going to come back down pit lane and put a fresh set of tires back on and go back out. And we're going to see drivers do this over and over and over again, all trying to get the best advantage they can, as Lacherie leads Levesque by 8 thousandths of a second. Fazui 30 thousandths back. It is so tight at the top of the board right now.
Yeah, it is very, very tight right now. Fazui really able to put in, I think, the more impressive time there to close it down a little bit more to only 0.03 of a second. Radisavage now a little bit of the odd man out, sitting 0.3 of a second back. Imagine that. We're talking about 0.3 of a second being a monumental gap here. That just shows you how close this top 3 are.
And here's Ian Ganal-Renault, 10th right now. We saw him needed a little bit of help here in the points to move up a little bit closer to the top of the order. There he is in that number 18, the Porsche Center North Toronto car, and his best lap. Only good enough for P10, but just 0.6 off of the front runner, Antoine Lacherie, right now.
Yeah, and I mean, if we look down through the fields here, the top 17 are separated by a mere 1 second. So it is very close running here from absolutely everybody. As we take a look right now at Christopher Cook, as he's bringing that number 66 around, trying to see if he's going to be able to gain a little bit more time. Cook sitting a little bit farther back down in the order here at this point, but hopefully he'll get a good run here.
Working his way down through the penultimate corner and getting set up for that great run here. Tight cut on the inside on the final turn, get right out to the edge of the curbs and accelerate under the start-finish straight. There's the gantry to start the lap. Let's ride on board here for a little bit with under 10 minutes to go here in qualifying. Use all the racetrack on driver's left. Get down to that yellow curb on the inside, hop it there. Left side tires up on the exit curb, and now straight line it under the gantry again and get yourself set up for turn 3. Which is a critical corner, not only to enter quickly, but to exit quickly. And those two things are hard to get together in one turn.
Oh, and this is going to get a little bit sketchy here for Christopher, coming up with a lot of lap traffic in front of him. Interesting lines to be able to take down through Remus, that second corner on the circuit, is you can dip it down low, as you saw Christopher do there. That's the traditional line, but there's actually a little bit of a dip in the track. So a lot of times when you see drivers trying to make a pass through that corner, it's traditionally the high line, the outside line, that's going to make that work a little bit better. But Cook having a great line there through Schlossgold, he's going to be able to continue that speed around.
And so far, so good. He's up 1/10 of a second on his best time, which would put him up about 3 or 4 spots on the grid if he could carry it for now. Right there, right out to the edge of the road. He used both stages of curbing and rumble strip, then to the inside apex and right out to the outside edge once more. And nice clean lap for the 66 so far. But again, qualifying, at least for this first sprint race, we have a 15-minute and then a 30-minute race. The first sprint race is absolutely critical to qualify well for, because the second race is set by the finishing order from race 1, except the top 10 are inverted. So that's something to keep an eye on as well throughout this day.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And once we get into the race itself, it will also be a situation where we're going to be talking about the fight for that 10th place position and who will be on pole for the final moments of the race, for the second race, rather. So that's going to be a very interesting thing to try to take a look at and see how that will shake out. But that's something to worry about in the race itself. Right now, it's all just about this qualifying, as drivers are really headed back out here after their sort of pit stop to get new tires on the car, and they're trying to put a good lap together.
Yeah, Antoine Lacharity in the number 21, or Lacharite rather, excuse me, still at the top of the order by that 8,000th mark that we documented earlier. Simon Theriault in the number 89, here he is, working his way through Remus, and there's a little bit of a climb up out of that corner as well. When you apply power in these Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars, 992 generation Cup cars, when you apply power, the car will want to kind of skate itself out to the outside edge of the road, and you have to balance that wheel spin perfectly to ride that wave. You don't want to really be spinning the tires, DJ, but you are definitely clawing away as you climb out of Remus and head down towards Schlossgold.
Yeah, you really and truly are. You're absolutely clawing at everything to make sure it works. And there you see, you kind of have to do that at almost every section of this track, considering this is such a elevation change of a circuit. There's a lot of good crests as you sort of come down the hill that you've got to be aware of the body roll of the car as it goes on through, and make sure that you're aware of all of what it's going to be feeling as you come down off of Remus.
Here's Josh Manalo in the number 86, working his way around. 14th right now for Porsche Center Vancouver. We've documented their day so far a couple of times. And off into Remus he will go, and on board you just hear the throttle and you see the car wiggle just a little bit right out to the edge. Nice exit there from Manalo. And right behind him in position, DJ, excuse me, is Alex Ellis in the number 5, and you see his teammate Suelio Almeida right ahead of them. Almeida where is he on the scoring grid right now? Up in 7th, but Alex Ellis only 15th best.
Yeah, that's a little bit surprising here, and I'd wonder if we're going to get a better lap time here from the two of them. Curtis Fung was able to just to improve a couple of positions up into 22nd at the moment, as they still continue to work their way around here. Taking a look at Suelio and his teammate, not seeing an improvement there for either of them, but still plenty of time to be able to get everything together here, as we've still got about 5.5 minutes left to go in the session. Yeah,
running out of time here to get your qualifying lap in before the end of the session. Lacharite, Levesque, Zooey, here he is. He's paired up with his teammate right behind him. That's Phil Bouchard for Porsche Center Rive-Sud. And it's been a good season for this team so far, and they're going to continue that trend, I think, tonight.
Yeah, I think they are as well. That Rive-Sud team has just been absolutely pretty darn dominant here from the drop of the green flag in round 1. Now Bouchard's going to have a little bit of a problem, though. There you see some weaving back and forth. I think this is more of a warm-up lap here for these two rather than an absolute go-for-it lap, because that 73 of Bouchard kind of got held up a little bit there through the infield section.
So Curtis Fung, will jump on board with him for a moment, rides in 22nd. There he is on board. He's getting himself set up for what I imagine will be a flying lap next time by.
Yeah, that should be what he's going on to here at this point. So let's see. Now, Curtis isn't going to have the best run when it comes to draft at this point, but the number 10 is going to be close enough behind. I'd say that's about a second up to the car in front of him. So that'll be enough to be able to pick up just a little bit of a draft, and especially with the good line he had there coming out of the Niki Lauda curve that first run, this could certainly help the number 10.
So he's accelerating up now towards Remus, as we talked about, and has a little bit of a toe. That toe will really get a lot stronger when you get within about 5 car lengths of the car in front, but it still does something up to about 1 to maybe 1.3 seconds back on a really long straight.
Yeah, that's just about how long it is as they go, but there you see Fung is certainly going to be able to get a nice little bit of a toe of it. I'd say that's certainly within 5 car lengths as they dive down into Schlosskold right now. So that's going to be some good running there for the number 10. He'll be able to get a nice little bit of a toe, and by the way, that is Lesmond up in front of him. And now it looks like Curtis didn't like what he saw out of that lap, getting out of the way there, and he's going to have another chance to try this again.
And you mentioned Kojo Lesmond in the number 97, right now in 41st place, a time a couple of seconds off the pace right now, but has a few more minutes to get a flying lap in. It's a short lap around here, DJ, so you get a lot of opportunities to go faster. The quickest driver so far have put in 9 laps, but the most people have put in is about 10, but nobody has put in fewer than 7, so really giving yourself the best opportunity you can. Here's Andrew Caron up to 4th place.
Yeah, Caron continues to work his way around right now, continues to try to get a little bit more time out of the car. The 06 right now just hold up behind that long run. That's Chris McGraw that he just went by, and Lacherit and Levesque as well. I think it's Alex Ho up in front of him that he's going to be pulling the draft off of, and so that'll be... it's about 1.8 seconds up the road to Alex, and he's not going to get the best run. And
looks like he's bailing out of this particular lap. Vincent Trepanier, by the way, how about his run at the Nürburgring a couple of weeks ago? We saw how strong he was, kind of got muscled up out of the way, and might be looking for some revenge up here. Matt Adams, who he had the run-in with, is back in 18th place, so a good qualifying effort by the 87. We'll see how it pans out for him in Team Porsche Center Edmonton.
Yeah, let's see what Trepanier is going to be able to do. The 87 now working his way into Schlosskold. Downhill braking zone, you've got to be a little bit aware of how that car is going to respond here at this point, as now he works his way down through the infield section. He's probably going to be able to gain a little bit of time here with not a lot of drivers in front of him, but let's see what the 87 can do.
Right out to the edge, and he's about even with his best time so far, at least through Sector 2. And he's going to head under the gantry now, and it's still, I can't see if it's purple yet, but it's right on the edge of being quicker. Yeah, it's just on the edge there. The 87 continues to bring it down now through that final corner. Going to come out here. Does the Porsche Center Edmonton driver have that little bit extra? Needs only 0.02 of a second to get his way ahead of Andrew Caron. It's not going to be enough. Trepannier's got to pull off to the side. Yeah, there he will pull off. But remember, you can't reset and then go back out, so that's going to be a forfeit for the rest of the session for him as Nicholas Michel hits pit lane in the number 11. He looks like he's going to be done. Giovanni Romano in the number 337. He works his way around course. Porsche Center London car, P25 for Romano. This is not the best qualifying session he has had, certainly.
Yeah, not the best there for Romano, and we've seen plenty of good runs from him, so I'm not entirely sure what is going wrong for him here, but may just be a situation where he doesn't like this track all that much. It's a little bit of a mixed track. It's kind of tough to be able to get right, and like I said, if you make one mistake in one of these corners, that's game over.
So as drivers drop like flies off of the on-track list, Racine Fizui has jumped to the top of the board, a 1:31.270. That is good enough to put him onto pole in the final moments. Racine Fizui will kick things off from the front row here, DJ. What a lap.
What an absolutely mega lap there for Fizui, but he's going to have his work cut out for him. With Lacherit and Levesque right there behind him, remember, those two are teammates. They're going to want to try to use that teammate advantage to try to get around Fizui. He may find himself in a little bit of sketchy territory, but he may just be able to pull this off if he's able to get a lightning start at this field.
So in just a moment, we'll head down and bring you the starting lineup for this first race. Remember that these are Quick sprint races, 15 minutes for race 1, 30 minutes for race number 2. And again, that second race, we're going to invert 10 drivers from race 1, and then we'll set the rest by their finishing position from that first race. So it'll be interesting to watch as cars get gridded here, DJ. Let's roll through our starting lineup here and kick things off. Row number 1, it's going to be Racine Fizui in the number 58 with Reeve Sood. Antoine Lacherit for Team Lauzon starts second in the number 21.
In third place, it'll be Guillaume Levesque in the 888, followed by Andrew Caron.
And in row number 3, it's Vincent Trepanier in the number 87 for Porsche Center Edmonton. And Ian Ganol Renault jumped up to 6th for North Toronto.
In seventh place, it'll be Zoran Radisavage, followed by Phil Bouchard, the Reeve Sood driver.
And row number 5, Simon Theriault in the number 89 for Porsche Center Victoria, and Etienne Leger for Mark Motors.
In 11th place, it'll be Suelio Almeida, and then Alex Ellis, his teammate, will be to his outside, both Markham drivers there.
Together in the standings, together on the starting grid. Row 7, Juliano Romagnolo in the number 55 for Porsche Center Oakville, and Blake Townend for Winnipeg.
And then behind them, it'll be Gregory Hovson and the newcomer, Brody Goebel, who fell down the order, but still a respectable qualifying in 16th.
And 17th place, Matt Adams for Mark Motors. Right up front at the Nürburgring will have to do some work tonight to get there. Nathan Bartley for Porsche Center Calgary starts 18th.
In 19th, it'll be Josh Manolo, followed by Justin Ream.
And in 21st place, it'll be Christopher Cook for the number 66, Porsche Center Kelowna, and Gustavo Fauzier in Porsche Center Victoria's number 23.
In 23rd, it's going to be Alex Bergeron, followed by Curtis Fung from the Langley Porsche Center.
Giovanni Romano starts 25th, Josiah Farrow 26th.
28th is Nicholas Michel, followed by Chris McCraw.
And behind them, it'll be Enzo Johansson for Porsche Center Quebec, Justin Nasir for Porsche Center Kelowna in 30th.
And 31st is Alexander Ho, and then Jean-Philippe Dubois in 32nd.
33rd place, Liam Roudzitis in the number 88. Stephen Warcup starts 34th in the number 4.
In 35th, it'll be Arthur Chan, and then Nicky Chan for the downtown Toronto Porsche Center to his outside.
And behind them, Arnaud Jeunesse in the number 312. Romain Faux starts 38th in the number 298.
Rolling off 39th, it's going to be Walter Lamb, and then Adrian Werson will line up 40th.
That is your starting lineup here for the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada. Round number 4 from the Red Bull Ring from Spielberg, Austria. Fizui and Lacherit up in front, the 58 and the 21. Similar colors, but different teams on these cars. But Guillaume Levesque paired up with the pole sitter, the 58 and 888 sharing, the 21 and 888 sharing the livery. The 58, a similar one, but not related. Andrew Caron, 4th. Vincent Trepanier. This is the driver that I'm watching. Oh, one car slow. The 888 of Levesque has stopped mid-track, and everybody scatters around him.
That is not good, and that's not a spear off necessarily like I would expect that it would have been a hardware issue. I'm not sure what happened there for Levesque, but good heads up for the rest of the field to be able to get their way around him there. That was a little bit sketchy. Yeah,
certainly strange, so we'll see. He'll get his starting spot back, but definitely not what we were expecting to see. Maybe just a little bit of a reset here. But Fizui is going to have the inside for the start of this race, and it's all going to run down to Lauda Curve. And this is such a critical corner to get out of cleanly. If you can get through here without getting turned around, DJ, your lap 1 is already successful in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. You really need to make sure that you've got everything together there at that point. And Lauda is a little bit one of those pinch zones that we talked about here. But the good news for these drivers is track temperatures are pretty darn hot right now, 116 degrees Fahrenheit. And with a little bit of extra lapping around this circuit, that means these tires are going to be up to temperature and ready to go.
Here comes Guillaume coming up through the middle. And as I was mentioning when he stopped, I'm keeping my eye on Vincent Trepanier in this number 87. I think he's one to watch. Certainly after round 2, I don't think there's any reason why he wouldn't be in the mix here in round number 4, especially with a great starting spot. Even if he falls backwards, he's going to fall into some upward success, I think, with the start of that race number 2, where we're going to invert 10 drivers.
Yeah, we could see some good running there from them, but now at this point, as we work our way down into Rent, it is all focusing on the driving. The pace car's getting ready to pull off to the side, and we're about ready to go racing.
Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada, round number 4 from Spielberg, Austria. A pack of 40 Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars is about to take the green. Here they come to the stripe, into the start zone right about there. Green flag flies, we're racing in Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada, round 4. A great launch by Fuzui. Lacherit locks it a line as they're 3 wide heading down to the first corner here, DJ. Can they avoid issues? Look at the Markham Motors car on the outside there heading into turn number 1. And is there some dramas behind? Yes, a couple cars turned around, including some drivers that we would expect to have a good day. They're going to start the wrong place.
Yeah, that is exactly what we talked about, that pinch point coming down into Lauda. But you mentioned that Markham Motors car really putting some good moves on at the beginning of the race. That's the number 18 of Ian Gagnon Renault, really sending the car around the outside. And now it looks like he's got a little bit of a run here on Guillaume Levesque. Meanwhile, up in front, it's Lacherit versus Fuzui for the lead.
Yeah, they're pretty much line astern right now, but there is a little bit of a battle here. Vincent Trepanier down 2 spots in the early going. It's Leger on the inside protecting as looks like Trepanier tried to go back around the outside, and Alex Ellis now into the mix, watching this battle ahead of him.
Yeah, Ellis thought about poking a nose there down to the inside, but not really able to make it work as he follows behind the 87 here at this point of Trepanier, thinking about trying to have a move down into the inside as they go through Rauch, but a little bit of wheel spin there for Ellis is going to prevent any attack.
Oh wait, Ellis downshifted there. I don't think he meant to downshift that much and that aggressively. He's going to lose. Look at the ground he's lost on board now with Almeida as he tries to run Ellis back down. And Zoran Radosavich in behind him. Look at them kicking up dirt using so much racetrack into Rint. That's turn number 9.
Well, everything here, Kyle, is about momentum, momentum, momentum. You want to keep that speed up through these medium speed corners. You've got to be pushing as much as possible. But look at this up in the front. Fuzui, Lacherit starting to build a little bit of a gap here. 9/10 of a second as they work their way around. Ooh, big error there for Fuzui, going off track a little bit.
And Lacherit is right in the rear view mirror of Racine Fuzui right now. We're riding on board with him. Look at the focus in his eyes at the bottom right of the screen. Looks cool as a cucumber here. Stays in line behind the 58, not pushing the issue here early. There is a little bit of a distance behind to Levesque, 7/10 of a second, so he's not in an incredible rush to get this past done, but he has to keep him in sight.
Yeah, he's got to try to keep him in sight here at this point. Remember that crucial 1 second gap that we talked about. That's exactly what you want to try to keep in here as they work their way through the corners.
On board, look at Levesque. He sees those two battling just ahead of him now, and you're lingering back about 6/10 of a second, 8/10 of a second, just hoping and praying that maybe they come together here, DJ, and you can drive right by both of them, but it never comes that easy.
No, it never does come that easy, and there's going to be plenty of fights here as things continue to evolve over the course of these races. There you see a couple of drivers dipping a toe off into the grass. That's Blake Townend getting things wrong.
Yeah, Townend has gone wide. Let's see what has happened to him. On the replay here, a little bit of contact from Roman Yolo in the 55, just a slight bump. Puts him off course, DJ, and down the grid he's going to fall down to about 26 spots. So certainly not the direction he wants to go here early.
No, it certainly won't, as that's not what you want to have happening here. That is a loss of momentum, as we said a little bit earlier. But now we take a ride on board here with Lacherit. Levesque doing a good job behind, keeping that gap at about 8/10 of a second. That's kind of what you need. Oh, we've got another car off and around. That's the number 10 machine. Yeah,
it's Curtis Fung, so he's got problems, and that's going to put him down the order certainly here as we jump back up to the leaders. And it's Lacherit right behind Fuzui here. 3/10 back. That gap is slightly growing, though. Fuzui trying to put some distance on him.
Yeah, he's trying to stretch it here as much as possible, just focusing on corner exits. He's really and truly doing a good job to be able to get his way around and not driving defensive here at this point. That's the crucial thing here for Fuzui. He doesn't want to be driving his rearview mirrors. He just wants to be driving the most optimal racing line possible.
Here's Etienne Leger. We mentioned him a little earlier in that battle with the 17 of Vincent Trepanier, or excuse me, the 87 of Vincent Trepanier, who's gotten back by him. And now Leger is trying to keep Alex Ellis and Suelio Almeida, the Team Markham cars, in view here.
Yeah, trying to keep up with them there as their Swolio is going to come down through the corner. And again, this is going to be where you've got a little bit of conversation going back and forth, trying to be able to work with your teammate to see who's got more speed as you continue to push your way around here as much as possible.
Certainly, and with only 10 minutes remaining in this race, it's going to be absolutely critical that these drivers really keep on it and keep the pressure on the drivers ahead of them here. It's going to get more and more intense the closer you get to the checkered flag, and fewer drivers are going to give as we get closer to the end.
Yeah, very much so. And I'd look for maybe a little bit of give and take here in this first race. But trust me, once we get into the feature, you're going to see absolutely none of that as we now ride on board with Etienne Leger. Only about 0.4 of a second off of Swolio Almeida, continuing to try to close in behind as Almeida works with his teammate there, Alex Ellis, to try to pull himself away.
Accelerating up out of the corner and continuing that chase for 7th place. Vincent Trepannier's got Phil Bouchard about a second clear of him. And up front, it continues to be La Cherie, just 0.2 back from Fuzui. That pressure has got to be hot in Fuzui's helmet right now.
It's got to be very, very hot, but I'm very impressed here with Fuzui's ability to defend here at this point. He is just absolutely doing what he needs to do, not letting La Cherie dictate the pace of this whatsoever. Fuzui's driving his own race.
And Bouchard right on the heels of Ian Ganault-Renault in that number 18. Started up in 5th. He's gained 1 spot, but a second spot is, well, that spot he gained is about to be under fire as Bouchard tries to chase him back down.
Yeah, he's going to try to close back down on him here at this point as they continue to go right now. Ganault-Renault, the 73, closing in behind of Bouchard. Bouchard going to try to be able to get their way in there as they go through the first corner. Bouchard setting him up here. You don't actually want to try to make the pass here into Niki Lauda. It's much more about setting it up. Bouchard, I don't know if he's going to get the run here that he wants with Ganault-Renault also getting a little bit of the draft off the cars in front of him. But let's see. He's going to have a little bit of a look to the inside. Here he goes, Kyle.
Up the inside here at turn number 3 at Remus. The inside line gets it done, but not past completely. He got to the inside, but wasn't able to clear Ian Ganault-Renault. So now it's a drag race up to Schlossgold turn 4.
Yeah, here they go, working their way down, and it looks like the 73 of Bouchard is going to be able to shut the door, and that is going to be Bouchard up into P5 ahead of the Porsche Center North Toronto driver.
Ian Ganault-Renault back to 5th place, right back where he started, while in the background, Etienne Leger continues to try to track down Almeida. He's got both the FAF liveried cars right ahead of him. And I wonder if he can get both of them in 1 or 2 laps here. If you get one, the other's not that far away.
No, certainly aren't, and he's going to have to try to push their way around here a little bit more, but Leger just hasn't seemed to be able to really get that last little bit of a pass that he wants to get done, as he's now going to try to go down here into Rint, and it looks like the 2 teammates pulling away just a little bit as now they come down into that final corner, A1. Again, kicking up a lot of dirt there on the exit of the corner. They're going to keep on pushing and keep on going.
Alex Ellis and Swolio Almeida, they really understand the importance of working together and being teammates. You see that in the points when they're only separated by a couple of points, and they're 7th and 8th in the standings. And right now they're 7th and 8th on the racetrack. If anything, they're incredibly consistent, DJ, but I think they'd like to be a little bit closer to the front. Almeida was dominant in one of the seasons of Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada in the past, but it has gotten so competitive that the slightest mistake will put you 8th place.
Yeah, and that's just what it can be able to put you down on here as they go. Now looking to see if they're going to be able to get a little bit of a run. Still watching Leger, try to see if he's able to get anything, but I think because of Almeida's advantage, because of Ellis in front of him, he's able to just hold him at pay for now. This is a little bit like a draft train here. This is exactly the problem, and I think Leger is going to find it very, very difficult to get a pass done here in the final 7 minutes or so.
Well, he's got Zoran Radosavich not too far behind him as well, who started in 6th. He's dropped backwards, but is kind of clinging to the rear bumper of Leger. So if those 3 ahead of him start to get involved in any sort of battle, then he could be on top of it as well. Back to the leaders because they're only 0.2 apart. It's how they've been the entire race. 5 minutes and 50 seconds to go here, DJ, and it's so close between these 2 up front.
It's so close, and I wonder here if we're going to start to see a little bit of scrapping in between the two, if Lacherit is tired of waiting around, or if his strategy is to genuinely just wait until the last possible minute and then send a big move down to the inside. But this could be the run to end all runs for the 21.
Here comes Lacherit into the mix here. Watch him on board. He's pushing Racine Fazui. Staying in line. That looked quite orderly, but we know that he's not going to be satisfied with second come the end of this race.
No, he's certainly not. He's going to want to try to keep pushing here as much as possible. And the other part of that is he wants to try to continue to build the gap over Guillaume Levesque behind him, because they've been able to stretch out 1.5 seconds. Remember, we said about 1.3 or so was going to be the draft range. So they're going to keep continuing to try to push their way around. We focus a little bit farther back in the field, though.
This is Brody Goebel in the 69 car on the outside of Romagnolo, who we saw get into someone a little earlier in the race. I think it was Blake Townend in the 57 who's recovered to 19th place, but Goebel really up a couple of spots, and just behind them is Nathan Bartley and Alex Bergeron in the 12. Remember, he had quite the climb at the Nürburgring as well. That was round number 2 of the 4 that we've done so far.
Yeah, and he's going to try to continue to build on that momentum from the Nürburgring right now, but he's still got to try to get by Nathan Bartley. And again, we're going to run into another situation here where it's a little bit of a draft train. Now, it's not nearly as close as it is between Ellis, Almeida, and Leger, but at the same time, still here, Romagnolo, Goebel, Bartley, Bergeron, they're all running within about a half second of one another, and that means that all of these drivers are going to be picking up the draft off one another.
And to put that in perspective, at a 10-corner track, if you're off a tenth of a second in each corner, you're a second off the pace. To be a second off the pace right now would put you in the mid-20s in terms of race pace. It is so close that half a second is effectively nothing when you get down to it here. Up the road, just way off in the distance, you saw Lacherit give the bumper to the 58 of Racine Fazui. The race is on here up front.
Here we go. It is racing time with 3 minutes and 35 seconds left to go. Let's see if they're going to be able to do this and be able to continue to get their way around. Lacherit not going to send a move down into Schlossgold, but that bump sure tells me that he wants Fazui to know he's there.
Right out to the edge of the racetrack, using every inch of road. Lacherit, he is waiting. There is some patience here. He gave the bumper to the 58, but it wasn't enough to move him out of the way. It was just like ringing the doorbell. He is there on the doorstep and is just waiting to walk through that door if Fazui opens it for him.
Yeah, he's really waiting for it here at this point, just praying that he's going to get a little bit of an opportunity. And I guarantee you, with only 3 minutes left to go in this race, lap time sitting at about 1 minute and 30 seconds, this is going to be 2 laps to go. Lacherit knows it. Lacherit's going to be pushing.
2 minutes 47 on the clock. You mentioned it. 2 laps remaining this time by the stripe. 3/10 is all that separates the leaders as they come across the stripe. And behind them, there's Zoran Radosavich in 10th place. Simon Theriault in the number 89, and Romagnolo and Brody Goebel. And look at this battle here. Here comes Ellis, or actually Almeida past Ellis. Will that leave them vulnerable to either Leger or Radosavich? It held them up a little bit, DJ.
Yeah, it certainly did, and I think Leger there is the one who's going to take most advantage. But then again, look at Radosavich close behind as well. But here's Leger in that yellow and black number 2 machine. Is he going to have a little bit of a fade down to the inside here going into Remus? He thinks about it, trying to shut the door. There is Alex Ellis, and it's going to be a whole kerfluffle, and somehow they're able to get through cleanly.
And Radosavich took perfect advantage of that. Leger got in there a little bit too hot, overdrove the corner exit, and here comes Radosavich through into 8th place, and Simon Theriault watching in the 89 as these two still go side by side, this time into Schlossgold.
They're still going to be at it. Theriault just waiting for the opportunity to pounce here as Leger gets run a little bit wide. Here they go, trying to push their way through. I think Theriault is going to have the line here at the moment.
And a crossover here. Excellent work there by Theriault, but he had to lift. Good cover there by Leger to just pull it to the inside a little bit more so that Theriault didn't have space. The stewards would not look kindly on that if he had tried to jam that Porsche down there in the final moments of that corner entry. So they continue to battle for 10th place, as up front the leaders are just a tenth and a half separated as we come to what this time is going to be the final lap.
Yeah, white flag in the air here. Lacherit not able to make the full play on this final lap, but it is now or never time for the number 21. Does he get the run here out of Niki Lauda? Yes, he does. It's game on.
Here he comes. Watch his onboard here. Swings to the right, swings to the left, has overlap now on the 58 car. It's a drag race to Remus. Who's going to win it? Who's going to fake first on the brakes? The 21 on the outside is deeper in the corner. Fazui's got the preferred line, though, jumps the curb, and they continue their drag race now down to Schlossgold.
And no draft in front of either of them. This is all going to be about tenacity and the lateness that you can dive onto the brakes going down into Schlossgold. It's going to be the 58 of Fazui on that preferred line, but we've seen La Charite be able to make this work around the outside. Here they go.
Still side by side up for the lead. La Charite on the outside. The 58 on the inside, but it switches back for this next corner. Still door to door. They've been like this for half a lap.
And there, finally, Antoine La Charite able to get the crossover and get it done. I don't know if there's going to be time for Fazui to fight back, but rest assured he's going to be going for it.
White flag is out. We are coming back to the checkered flag. La Charite on the final lap. He never even broke a smile. Look at how focused he is in that race car. 2 more corners left here at Spielberg.
Only 2 more corners to go, and it looks like smooth sailing for La Charite. Fazui not going to be able to get the run out of that final corner, it looks like, and here comes La Charite to the line.
Checkered flag, La Charite in the number 21 is going to win race 1 of round 4 for Porsche Center Lausanne, and Racine Fazui for Porsche Center Rive-Sud, second place, lost by 0.2 of a second and led all but 1 lap. Guillaume Levesque, Phil Bouchard, and Ian Ganon Renault, the rest of your top 5, DJ.
Yeah, very, very impressive run for them. Vincent Trepanier, Swolio Almeida able to hold off Alex Ellis there. Radif Savic able to come home ahead of Etienne Leger, and those 10 will round out your top 10 here today.
And behind the rest of the field coming back to the stripe this time, here's the 10 of Curtis Fung, who did not have the good start to the race that he was looking for. As low as 37th, nice rebound up to where he is now, 26th, as they come out of the final corner here and across the stripe, chasing the 97, who breaks right at the line. What was that all about? Lesmond right at the stripe, slammed the brakes. There's Johansson coming across the line. And drama's even further in the field there, DJ.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. It almost looked like he ran out of fuel there, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll kind of have to maybe get a little bit of a chat and see what that was, but a very strange incident nonetheless.
Well, let's have a quick look here at our results, at least for the top 10 that are going to get inverted here for race number 2. La Charite, Fazui, Levesque, Bouchard, and Ian Ganon Renault. Top 5, Trepanier only dropped 1 spot. Almeida Ellis swapped spots, but Etienne Leger was the final driver in the top 10. And just like, I believe it was at round 1 at Circus Gilles Villeneuve, he will start on the pole for race number 2.
Yes, he will, as we head over into a warm-up session here. Just a little bit of a breathing space for these drivers to get themselves calmed down before we go into the 30-minute feature race that will follow everything up here at this point. And, yeah, I mean, some fantastic racing action here from all these drivers, Kyle.
Certainly. Let's chat with Antoine La Charite, who got the job done on the final lap, made a pass. DJ, take it away.
Antoine, I want to ask you, that setup there on the final lap, were you positioning yourself from the very exit of Remus to be able to get that all the way down to the inside through the infield?
Yeah, the move started pretty much at lap 1. You know, the strategy was to save tires and try to make a gap with the guys behind and attack later. It definitely pay off because at the end, I think Racine had a hard time on his tires. So, yeah, pretty happy with that.
Well, you know, you talked a little bit about the tires there and how difficult this is going to be. We've got 115 degrees track temperature right now, degrees Fahrenheit. How much of a concern are those tires going to be going into the feature race?
I think it's going to be the main concern, apart stay out of trouble. So it's going to be very easy on the tire at the beginning. Try to pick up some easy place with hopefully some crash that doesn't have us in it. And then at the end, it's going to be a full push and try to make the most space as possible.
Well, we wish you all the luck in the world when you get there, my friend, and continue to be having good races like that.
Thank you.
All right, let's chat with Racine Fazui. Led all but 1 lap there, DJ.
Racine, a little bit of heartbreak there for you. As Kyle just said, you led every lap but the most important one. How you feeling after race 1?
Good. Antoine, smart guy. He let us get a gap, kind of like the karting way, right? And then at the end, he sent it And kudos to him. I just had no more tires. I don't know what it is. Just leading a race, you don't get tires around the Red Bull Ring. I need to investigate this more because it just doesn't make any sense. But nonetheless, now I'll start in the pack. Hopefully, I get better tires this time around. But GG Stunt1 kept it clean. I kept it clean. I didn't give him too much of a run for his money at the end. It's a sprint race, and there's a feature after, and I just wanted to bank points. So I had the quality on him. Now he got the sprint on me. So kind of more or less evens out.
More or less evens out. But what can you take away going into this second longer race? Is this going to be more of a tire conservation race, or is this going to be a little bit more of the same in what we saw in the first race?
Oh, it's going to be completely different than the first race. Red Bull Ring is quite chaotic. The start of the main is going to be more or less the same as the start of the sprint. We need to be careful. We need to be careful. At the start of my Sebring race, I got 8x, 4x just of contact twice. And I can't afford damage or any X because now 1X a lap and you're done. You're disqualified. So last race went pretty well in terms of X's for me. I was able to control the pace for the time that I had tires and not really use up my 1X's. But then what happened. So let's keep our head forward and let's push for the main.
All right, let's keep pushing. Indeed, Rasim, good luck for the main race.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right, DJ, thanks for that. As we get set for our second race of the night, one thing we saw La Charite do excellently was just kind of wait in the wings, wait for the opportunity. The second race is a little bit longer, and without as chaotic of a start potentially, how important do you think it is to get track position early, or do you think you can kind of do what La Charite did and just kind of hang out there and wait to pounce?
Well, I think you can kind of hang out and wait there to pounce with a caveat to it, let's say. You've got to be up within about the top 5 or so. We saw in that last race that La Charite and Fazui were able to gap Guillaume Levesque by about 1.5 seconds. If you're able to get that gap at the front of the field, good night, Gracie. It's done. You are not going to be able to catch that back up. You can loiter around behind, you can hold out behind, but you have got to be close enough to be able to make that play when push comes to shove. So I think you need to be pushing a little bit here early on to make sure you don't lose that gap.
Yeah, certainly, and I think also we saw kind of the mid-pack get caught up in some things towards the beginning of there as well, and we saw some really good racing up towards the front, but one of the things I really liked is we saw how clean the racing was up front. Maybe a little touch here and there, but for the most part, DJ, fair play by all the drivers up front, which is always what we want to see.
Yeah, very much so. It was very, very clean racing, very good racing amongst everyone, and you really and truly love to see that for all of them. And I would expect to see the same thing continuing on. This is what we have come to expect here from this series, is good, competitive, clean racing. And even with that big coming together that we saw on the first lap in the first corner, that's just sort of what happens sometimes when you're racing around here.
So in just a moment, we're going to get our second race going here, our 30-minute race. Again, we've completed our 15-minute sprint, and that 30-minute race is going to have a 10-driver inversion, which means that Etienne Leger is going to start on the front row. And with that inversion, in the past, we haven't really seen the drivers that won race one make it all the way back to the front. And so this is going to create that chaotic scenario, DJ, that we keep talking about, is you put slightly slower drivers in front of the fastest ones, and then it's going to get really interesting, to say the least, on that front row.
Yeah, I certainly think it is. And I'm going to be watching for those drivers starting around the 10th place position. Those were especially quick, looking at Fazui, La Charite, Levesque, those kind of drivers, to see how quickly they're going to be able to maybe jump up and try to work their way up through the field.
So the warm-up is about to complete here. Again, thanks for joining us. Big special thanks also to Tag Heuer, the timing partner here for the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada, for Bose, and of course for Porsche. Some great prizes on the line here this season, DJ. There's a Porsche driving school involved. There's some Bose and Tag Heuer things involved as well, merchandise and all sorts of gift packages for those that finish up towards the front in the championship season. And at the conclusion of this event, we are at the halfway point of the season. One more time, here's a quick look again at the season standings as we came into this round. It was Fazui and La Charite on top, perhaps no surprise, but Andrew Caron we didn't really see right up at the front, but we certainly did see Guillaume Levesque there and Phil Bouchard. Matt Adams probably needs to have a little bit more of a run tonight in race number 2 to keep that 6th spot in the standings, especially with Bergeron and Almeida outperforming him in that first race.
Yeah, definitely going to need to try to push their way up through the standings here as much as possible. But Kyle, we are gridded up here and about ready to go. It looks like we are going to have a lap and a half of pacing. So once again, those tires are going to be in perfect operating temperature more than likely by the time they dive down into turn one. Plenty of time here for these drivers to think through their strategy on these first couple of corners.
Yeah, and again, there's your starting lineup for this race on the left-hand side of the screen. It's Etienne Leger, Radosavich on that front row. But here's the drivers that I'm keeping my eye on in this race in particular. How about row 2, Alex Ellis and Suelio Almeida, both of the Porsche Center Markham cars. How can you not circle them as favorites in this one?
I mean, you certainly have to. There's no question about it. They definitely just need to be able to push their way ahead, and I think that can be the way to go.
So, formation lap time, get the heat in the tires and brakes, and as you mentioned, they get a lap and a half to do so. And that's a lot of time, actually. Typically, you'd only get about what we're going to see here. The lights would already be off. You'd be coming straight to the green. But you have that extra lap to generate some extra tire temperature, extra brake temperature, and you're going to use it on that run down to Lauda Curve. That's a heavy braking zone. And then you might get a chance to cool them off a little bit, but then you're heading straight into Remus at 140 plus, 150 plus miles an hour. So it's definitely important to get your car prepped for that first half a lap.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you'll see a lot of these drivers doing exactly what they're doing on these longer straightaways, doing a little bit of weaving back and forth, getting everything set together, and really doing a great job to make sure that those tires are clean and in the right operating window.
And then Vincent Trepanier, we're starting 5th again as well. Ian Ganal Renault, Phil Bouchard, Levesque, Fazui, and La Charite, your top 10. And then after that, it's Simon Theriault, 11th, Romagnolo in 12th, Brody Goebel, Bartley, Bergeron, the rest of your top 15. Those are all teams and drivers that finished or are starting where they finished in race 1. No inversion for 11th on back. So we'll see if they can kind of crack their way into the top 10 here in this final race of round 4 as we look ahead to the continuation of this series and the final 4 rounds of the championship.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of time here to do it as they go. But plenty of time in the championship to go and plenty of time in this race. Again, 30 minutes, you're going to have to set things out a little bit more and get them around here.
Yeah, and in terms of the calendar, next up is going to be Spa-Francorchamps on April 20th. That's a week from now. Then it's Road America, the National Park of Speed, a little bit later on in the season. May 4th and May 11th is Interlagos, followed by Canadian Tire Motorsport Park on May 22nd, which is the conclusion of this championship, the final race of the season, back on home turf for many of the drivers here in this championship.
Yeah, back on home turf, familiar circuits, but let's also just acknowledge the fact that these drivers know just about every circuit on the iRacing service, backwards and forwards. It's very, very impressive stuff from them that they have all of this mastered, and it really goes to show whenever we get to a circuit like this.
So Etienne Leger, as he was at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, right up on that front row, and his only goal is to keep everyone behind that rear wing plastered with Tag Heuer on it. Keep them all in the rear view for 30 minutes time. Those Markham cars looking awful racy. Ellis on the inside, Almeida on the outside. And turn 1, Lauda Curve, there's plenty of runoff room there, but if you go too far off track there, you will get yourself a slowdown penalty, and that will drop you a whole lot more spots than just lifting to stay on track. So always decisions to be made behind the wheel, and many more about to happen in the next 30 minutes here from Spielberg, Red Bull Ring, Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada, round 4, race 2. Cars packed up, paired up, 20 rows deep. Etienne Leger, Zoran Radosavich on the front row. And here we go, race 2 of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada, round number 4. Green flag flies, we're racing again from Spielberg.
Great getaway there for Leger. Still about 3-4 wide as they go. Big send up to the inside there for Alex Ellis as they come down through the corner in contact. They're farther behind.
Yeah, there's trouble in the background, but we're 3 wide with Radosavich in the middle. And out front, Leger tries to run away. We're still sorting it out as we head up to Remus here. Look out, Trepanier going for 3rd, going for 2nd. Radosavich wants it back. And this is getting very dicey here into Remus.
Very dicey indeed, side by side there. Little bit of banging and bumping, little bit of bumping and banging as they come out of the corner. It's going to be a little bit of a triangle here as they go. Looks like there's Suelio Almeida trying to hold off an attack from Zoran Radosavich as they dive down into Schlossgold.
Trepanier going for the lead on the inside of the 2. Side by side here, Ellis has it all out the windshield. Behind him, Almeida battling Radisavage to his inside, but the 3 cars ahead of him all scrapping for the lead here on the downhill left-hander. Trepanier goes the long way around, still trying to get the lead away, but Leger's got the inside.
Leger's got the inside as they go, and it looks like there that Ellis is trying to follow him on through, as here they go through the corners. It looks like the 87 there of Trepanier is going to try to fight back a little bit, and don't look now, here comes Swolio Almeida.
Oh, he's in the mix now, and just a moment ago, Trepanier was battling for the lead, now holding on to second. Around the outside, Ellis trying to cling to driver's left. That's an impossible place to hang on. Right up to the edge of the road, they touch here. Almeida on his teammate for third place as Leger drives away.
He's going to try to drive away here at the moment as they go, and there you can see it looks like Swolio being a little bit left in the dust there, but he's now going to try to fade. Going to the inside is Oren Radisavage up into Nicky Lauda, and he's got it done!
And look at this, Ian Ganal-Renault now over the back of Radisavage. Radisavage slams the door shut. Big defensive move there as a couple drivers in the dirt in the background. That was Christopher Cook in the 66, and now look at Roman Yolo offsetting to the left, and a little bit farther up the road, the 87 now of Trepanier, under fire from Ellis once more.
And here they go, a little bit of single file here, something we haven't seen from these drivers thus far in this race. And look at that gap that Leger is starting to build out already. It's already 1.1 seconds as now they dive down into the corner. We've got a little bit of side-by-side farther back down in the field.
Yeah, this is Ian Ganal-Renault in the middle of this. Phil Bouchard, Zoran Radisavage behind him. And Ian was P5 in race number 1, I believe, and right behind, look at the send from Phil Bouchard. He wanted to spot, and he just went up there and took it.
Yeah, it certainly did as they continue to try to go as they run right now. Everybody just trying to gain those positions, putting themselves into the right situation, as I talked about.
Single file line astern in the background there. I see Matt Adams documented that he is up in the top 10 in points, but didn't have a top 10 run in race 1, is still not top 10 in race number 2, but trying to work his way forward here in that number 17. A lot of cars out the windshield, though, and they're all good ones. Brody Goebel. And how about Levesque and Radisavage side by side again? Levesque in the 888, still 7th place.
Still in 7th place as they work. Now it's all single file back down through the field here as much at this point. A little bit of side by side, a little bit closer, but we watch here the number 5 of Alex Ellis trying to make that move on Trepanier. Trepanier is going to hold off down to the inside. I think he's got him covered. Looks for the crossover. Almost able to get it done, but Trepanier has it all covered.
And behind Radisavage is just under fire. La Charite goes around the outside. Look at this stack up here. So many cars. La Charite, remember, he started 10th. He's only up to 8th. Racine Fazui still stuck P10 and trying to go the long way around to the 34 at this point.
Yeah, trying to make that work around the long way around. We've seen that work. It's a little bit harder here to do in the tin top cars with a little bit less downforce on it, but he is certainly able to try to go. Now he's going to send a move up to the inside there of Rauch. That's not going to play out. He's going to have to fall back.
He got pretty greedy there. He wanted that move. He wanted it to stick, but he couldn't quite get the car down there. By the way, a little bit deeper in the field, Rudzitas, Warcup, and Justin Ream scrapping for 23rd place as we jump back up to the front because Etienne Leger is losing his lead over Trepanier, Ellis, and Almeida.
Oh, with him losing time there at this point, that's not going to be the best runaround for him. And now he's going to have to worry because there is a very, very quick driver in the form of Phil Bouchard. He's currently making a move on Ian Gagnon-Renault.
Yeah, here comes Bouchard on driver's left. Gagnon-Renault is going to jump back to the outside. Inside now of... Wow, he just took a spot away from Almeida, caught him sleeping, and here comes Bouchard with him. Does Almeida have a problem?
I don't know, or if he maybe just had a little bit of a problem coming down the main straightaway. We'll have to see. He's trying to be able to hold on to positions here, but he's already lost 3. Trying to make it 4 here is Antoine La Charite as they go down to the braking 4. Remus able to keep things together here at this point, and it looks like Almeida's going to stick tough and now maybe try to fight it out around Levesque.
It is rush hour traffic in the bottom half of the top 10 back here. Even behind them, Brody Goebel and Bergeron are side by side. Roman Yolo and Fazui side by side, and the 888 of Levesque on the brakes to the inside of Almeida, who is dropping down the order. Nice clean racing here, though, and for the lead. Leger's lead is gone. Here comes Trepanier to the outside.
Here he goes, looking around the outside of Rauch. That's not going to work itself out. He's trying to look a little bit here for the crossover move, but again, that's not going to play. And look who has been brought back into this equation. Hello, Alex Ellis.
Alex Ellis is right there in third place, ready to pounce. A little bit of damage on that 87 from when they had contact in the final corner right at the start of the race. You can't even see where you're going. The car in front of you takes up your entire field of vision. You can't see your marks, but Ellis is still hitting them somehow. And here comes a run on the 87 to Trepanier.
All right, here he comes. Is Ellis going to have this look going down into the first corner? This is a little bit aggressive there. He is going to go for it, though, and it looks like there the Trepanier kind of let him have that, I have to say.
Yeah.
Big sigh of relief, though, for Alex Ellis, and now he knows he's got to defend here because Trepanier able to get a good crossover and able to get a good line coming out of that first corner.
I was going to say you could see the relief when he got the pass done, but it's not done. Here comes Trepanier back to the outside now. It's a hard line to stick to, though. It's a little bit longer, and you don't get the drive off that you do on the inside. So Ellis should be able to fend him off, but he has not completed it yet. And Ian Ganal-Renault is watching from behind.
Yeah, he's just sitting back in the popcorn position here at this point, hoping that there's going to be a little bit of a fight. You know, Renault leaning, giving that iRacers lean that we'd love to see down into the corners there. He's not going to be able to get any move done, but he is going to be putting pressure to the back of Ellis and Trepanier, and he's going to be letting them know they can't keep fighting like this because he will be up in there inside very quickly.
The lead is right there. It's the yellow and black car. Etienne Leger has it. Everyone behind him wants it. Even behind them, the AAA to Levesque is stacking up the field. Lacherie, Almeida, Radosavage, Fazui, all on top of each other, battling for position. But Almeida's backward slide, a bit surprised by this. His teammate's second, he's eighth. They have been basically in each other's tire tracks this entire season. So that one little mistake, if it was one, has dropped Suelio back way outside of the top five.
Yeah, it certainly has, and that's going to be a little bit of a tough break there for him, especially considering that he is part of that pack a little bit farther back. But we've got to keep our eyes right here because here comes a battle between the 73 and the 18. 18's going to hold it off to the inside, and Ganal-Renault able to keep it going.
And on board with Phil Bouchard once more. Not a completed pass attempt, but certainly is not completed attempting to pass. Look at this.
Not able to. Oh, here he comes.
Big dive from a long ways back, but he got to the overlap position, and he's got him now. If he can hold him out to the outside here and then down into the following corner, the next turn's a right-hander. That should give the 73 the advantage here.
Yeah, it certainly should, but we'll have to see what he's able to do here at this point. Are we going to see a dive from the 18 of Ganal-Renault? No, we're not. The 73 is going to be able to hold on to that position for now. Now, if I was Ganal-Renault, I would hold back here a little bit, not send that many moves. There's about a 0.7 of a second gap in between Phil Bouchard and Vincent Trepanier. Let Bouchard try to close that gap down. You do not want to lose touch with your leaders here.
Well, Ellis has regained some touch with Etienne Leger, who had sprinted out to a 0.7 of a second lead in the early moments when everyone was fighting, but that lead has dwindled back to effectively nothing. It's just 0.2 now, and just like at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Leger has got to defend for his life, and he continues to do a fantastic job of that, make that Porsche 911 GT3 Cup 992 car as wide as he can.
Yeah, he's doing a really great job here, and once again, like we talked about in that first race, it's not like he is driving a defensive line. He's just running his own line here, and he's saying to Alex Ellis, if you want to try to get past me, you are going to have to do it on your own volition. I'm not going to open up the door to you, and I'm not going to run defensive. You've got to figure out a way by me.
And in race one, it came down to this corner on the final lap. And we have 20 minutes to go, longer than the length of that race remaining. So there's still plenty of time, but there's also time for others, Antoine Lacherie, Suelio Almeida, and others to get back up in the mix. Crash behind him, and that is that Brody Goebel is one and Bergeron the other. And that is a big crash, the first that we've seen towards the front tonight.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure there what happened. Let's take a look here. Oh, unfortunately there, the 69 machine just getting a little bit squirrely. That was Brody Goebel on power coming up out of that. Got up onto the curbs. That got him going sideways, and then nowhere for the 12 to go. Yeah,
so he got into the 66 of Christopher Cook, and that's what put him off balance and then back into the outside, and Bergeron just a victim in that. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes sometimes. He's going to drop out of the mix as this lead battle. You cannot look away. Look how tight this is. I mean, it's just, if you're looking for some of the best drivers in online racing, you got them here, and they're all in Canada, apparently, DJ. Look at this. 40 of Canada's best in the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada, and they are just locked and loaded in this battle for the lead.
They are absolutely going at it, hammer and tongs. And Kyle, you love to see it here as they go. Working their way now down through that first corner, continuing to let things slide. I love what I'm seeing here, the patience out of these drivers. It is flawless.
And then Trepanier, remember he started up front, was battling for the lead. He almost had the lead, still sits third, but look at Phil Bouchard up the inside. He has just been catching people sleeping on the brakes, and passed for third place goes Phil Bouchard.
He's going to be able to blast on by, and that gap, 0.6 of a second, 0.7 of a second. Not a lot of time left. He needs to try to close down on Alex Ellis and not let them run away. He's got to be very, very careful here, does the Rift Suit driver. You can't spend too much time battling with those behind you.
And he is just closing in, 7th up to 3rd. And his climb continues, especially with these two maybe being held up by Leger. That's going to bring Bouchard in that much quicker. Ooh, Ellis offline there. In the gravel.
Offline. Yeah, that's going to slow him down significantly. We'll have to see if he's able to try to gather everything back up underneath him here. I don't think he lost too much time to the drivers in front, but he certainly lost time to them behind.
Oh, and Yangonal Renault and Guillaume Levesque side by side in the penultimate corner, and La Charite looking to take advantage of it as they run door to door. La Charite's got his teammate in a battle up front. He's going to follow him through past the 18 tires in the grass, up on speed on the front straightaway, and Almeida's back for more.
Almeida fighting back here, going to try to go in line, see if they can put the 18 of Ian Gagnon Renault offline a little bit. That's going to be a big offline run for La Charite, but he's going to be able to keep the car back underneath him. Watch for Almeida here. He's got the pace to try to make the move.
And Gagnon Renault, we just saw the shaking of the head in frustration, dropping spots. Here comes Almeida. See the eyes glance to the left, checking the mirrors here. Holding the 3 out, a little bit of contact there. Oh, a slide and a spin. Almeida goes around right in the middle of the racetrack, gets clobbered from behind, and damage, and dropping down the order for the number 3.
And I think Gagnon Renault may have caught a little bit of that and well. And who's that? That's the 58 machine
Racine
in trouble
Fizui.
too. Oh my goodness.
And I think he got caught up in this in the end right here as the 3 spins. He just catches the 58 of Fizui and sends him around. Wow. And it's really just got put offline into the marbles and throttled up and spun around, and then Fizui just a victim there, and that's very, very frustrating for the points leader coming into the day, DJ. That's going to change a lot of things heading into round 5.
Yeah, really, really is. That's going to absolutely open up the door to just about everything here. But we're going to check back in on the lead of the race. Legier continues to lead from Ellis, from Bouchard.
But for how long? 16 minutes to go. We're approaching the halfway point here. And Leger cracked under pressure about halfway through Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Will he do it again, or will Ellis work or get stuck behind him here? And Bouchard has definitely joined the party now. It's a 3-horse race for first place.
Yes, it is. Bouchard is right up there, and don't count out Vincent Trepanier or Guillaume Levesque here at this point. They're only about 5 8/10 of a second behind, so if these 3 start to squabble, we could see them catching up very,
Whoa,
very
here he
easily.
goes. To the inside goes Ellis. Stop it. Oh, look at the dive. Bouchard up the inside for second place, and Ellis takes the lead away from Etienne Leger. What a pass for the lead. It's not done yet, though.
No, it is not, and it surprised absolutely everybody as they came on through. And what did I say? Here comes the 87 of Trepanier trying to get involved in this battle as well, but it's going to be side by side between Leger and Bouchard.
Leger goes down 2 spots in just a handful of corners, and here is what happened. It caught us by surprise. I'm sure it caught him. Let's go back a little bit farther, look from high above. Watch the 5 here. He sees the brake lights illuminate on that number 2 out front right here. Dives to the inside, and then watch Bouchard sees the 5 up there and follows him through to the inside door. And then when the 5 didn't get a run, the 2 couldn't cross him over because the 73 was there. Excellent racecraft amongst the front 3, but certainly Ellis caught the 2 off guard, and then Bouchard was able to follow through.
Yeah, and credit there to Phil Bouchard not carrying overspeed into that corner. It would have been so easy to run just a little bit wide at the apex of Remus and have contact there between himself and Leger, but he knew exactly the limits of the car. And now look at this, Bouchard. I don't think that's a real move. He's just feinting to the inside on Alex Ellis to see if he can get a mistake out of the number 5.
It is queuing up a line of Porsches behind them, though, so there could be more. Certainly when Phil tries to repeat what Ellis did to Leger, that could bring in more into the mix. Trepanier, Levesque, Lacharitte, and Guillaume Renault in the pink car. Here comes Bouchard for the lead up the inside. He tried. Here comes Leger and Trepanier and Levesque, and there goes the leader.
Oh my goodness, he spun it up coming out of the corner.
That is huge. Alex Ellis spins while leading the race. Huge moment. Let's have a look. High above. No contact here, just throttles up, and the same thing his teammate did. Gets up on the curb there, and around he went.
Yeah, and you saw that car was pointed in the right direction, but he just took too much of that exit curb on the exit of the corner there, Kyle, and that was enough to upset the weight balance on the car, and that caused the rear end to spin up.
And that will move Phil Bouchard to the lead, Etienne Leger into second, Vincent Trepanier into third, Levesque to fourth, and Lacharitte to fifth place. That is unbelievable here to have that change with Ellis falling out of it. And here comes Trepanier up the inside, or Levesque rather, up the inside of Trepanier.
Yeah, everybody's starting to send the moves here at this point. I think the dam is about to break, and we are seeing these drivers going for broke.
And here comes Lacharitte past the 87. Does he have a slowdown maybe? He's off left, not protecting as the 21 goes by. And the teammates for Porsche Center Lausanne are through into third and fourth. Good points night for them, shaping up certainly.
Yeah, very, very good. They're going to be happy if they can hold on to this. We still have 12 and a half minutes left to go in this race, and as we heard these drivers talk about with the high track temperatures and the high abrasion on this surface, you've got to be worried about the tires here. I think we haven't seen the end of mistakes out of these drivers as these tires continue to wear off.
No, and again, 30 minutes here, you're wearing a lot of tires out. There's Christopher Cook and Andrew Caron. We haven't really talked a lot about Caron tonight in that 06. 42nd to 12th. Is that real, or is that an issue or an error? Because I almost don't believe that he drove up through 30 cars, but I guess it's something that Caron would be able to do.
It's showing up on my screen as up 31 as well, so
wow.
Unless iRacing is lying to us, that is an impressive drive for Caron.
What an epic recovery from a subpar race 1 for Caron, and an excellent race in race number 2, and still time to go to get himself up inside the top 10. As we go back a little bit deeper in the field, Josh Manalo in the 86 car. Let's document his day, 34th to 15th for him.
Yeah, he's having a good one as well. We've got a couple of drivers that have really put in some good times here and been able to work their way up through the field. Manalo, really the most impressive after Caron, and it doesn't look like Manalo's done here yet as he's got Nicolas Michel right up in front of him.
Yeah, this is going to be a good battle for position here, back for 14th place. Disregard, by the way, on the timing and scoring, you see out listed next to about 20 drivers' times. Disregard that for tonight. Not actually out, or at least for all of those drivers, but the ordering should be correct. We head down into the first corner again. That battle continues, but so does this one for third place. Guillaume Levesque has it. Lacharitte's got it. Yann-Guillaume Renault and Zoran Radosavich. Actually, the 34 has closed back in on this battle after dropping out of it a little ways back.
Yeah, and they're going to try to hold on here at this point. Radosavich in 7th. This is starting to be a little bit of an interesting trend. We're going to jump back here, though. Curtis Fung looked like that was a pretty offensive line from Racine Fazui behind him as Fazui tries to climb his way back up through the order.
Yeah, that tells the story. Back as far as he was to about 19th spot. It's been a tough night for Fazui to get turned around and really for the points. If he doesn't recover, it's going to put him at risk of dropping out of the points lead despite the strong run to second place that he had. The problem is the driver he's fighting in the championship, that's Lacharitte, is running in 4th right now and won the first race, DJ. So maximum points almost for Lacharitte if he can finish on the podium. Leger, big time defensive, and the 888 goes the long way around in the penultimate corner.
That's impressive stuff. You normally don't see a move going down into Rent, and I am very impressed that was able to work, and it's still playing out. And look at this. The 21 of Lacharitte now says, I want some of that, Levesque. Let's go.
And Trepanier, is he going to try to be the third car in this strain? Leger tries to defend by diving in there. Oh, the 888's in hot. He's wide, so is the 21. Here comes the 87 to Trepanier.
Here they come. It's going to be a 4-car battle. Woo-hoo! That is called knowing your car's limits right there.
And here comes Yangonel Renault. This is absolutely spectacular. Teammates battling behind Leger, who resumes his second-place running order while Bouchard runs away. The battle is on behind them. Light the candles. Here they go.
Here they go indeed. Let's keep our eyes here on Ian Gagnon Renault. I think if there's going to be a move coming, it's going to be from that pink number 18 machine for the Porsche Center North Toronto driver. He's going to hold it in line, though. Doesn't feel like throwing it all away here as we tick down under 10 minutes to go.
Absolute focus by Yangonel Renault. You see him glancing up, taking a look at the stats on the right side of the screen, but the ultimate focus here. It's been a frustrating race, up and down, up and down, up and down. Hasn't found a ton of consistency in this one. He's been as low as 7th, as high as 4th. He's 5th right now. And watch up the road, though, that 888 of Levesque back on the 2 again.
Back on the 2 again as they continue to try to work here. Oh, here comes a little bit of a move down into Rent.
On the outside, it's tough. On board with Levesque as he crosses over the 2 for second place.
He's going to try to go for it here, but Leger's going to have a little bit of an advantage. He may be able to roll some speed around the outside, but he's going to get a little bit of a bump here from his teammate of La Charite. Let's see how this handles going into Nicky Lauda.
Oh, the 2 is in the marbles. He had to give it up. Levesque through to second place, but it is a logjam as Leger crowds the 21. Here comes Ganol Renault and Trepanier. 4 cars in formation towards the top of the hill.
And who's going to be the latest of the late breakers here? It looks like La Charite's going to be able to send the move to Leger. Up to the inside comes Trepanier.
Wow, and behind him too, Radisavage from 7th looking at 6th on Renault. That was dicey stuff, but they all came out the other side of it somehow. But they can't get that lucky for that long. Defensive move there from Leger.
Leger taking that defensive move, not letting Trepanier carry speed around the outside, and that's actually going to turn to a little bit of an offensive move there for Leger, trying to make a move on La Charite as they come down into the infield.
Oh man, Yangonel Renault got the door slammed shut from Trepanier. Look at this. Now the 2 to the outside of La Charite, going to cross him over, the classic move, but the 21 knows how to defend that. You just hold it tight to the inside and you can't do much about it. Matt Adams, by the way, in the background up into 8th place. Teammates to this number 2, and Leger needs help.
Yeah, really and truly needs a teammate to be able to help him there, but he is just not getting it. La Charite and Levesque starting to pull away here a little bit more at the front of this little train.
And how do you help if you have a teammate here, DJ? It all comes down to having a rear gunner when you're in a battle to keep other people from getting in the mix, because we've seen with Leger, as soon as he gets flanked by one driver, the other teammate goes to the other side. They're working together to get around him, and they're working together to defend from him. You just need to have someone with you that's on the same page, because otherwise it's a free-for-all and there's not much you can do to defend.
No, there really and truly isn't here as we focus on the number 34 machine, Zoran Radisavage, trying to be able to close his way back up through the field. He's going to be the one behind Ian Gagnon Renault at this point. Interestingly here, Trepanier and Gagnon Renault, even after all of this battling, they're exactly where they started this race in 5th and 6th.
A lot of stories being told that are 1 page long, but there is an entire book on that page. From the top line to the bottom line, there's a lot more information jammed in it. It's been a busy day. For second place, this is the battle. It's teammates Levesque and La Charite, and 6 seconds clear of the field is Bouchard, and this is due to everyone else behind just frankly battling it out and letting Bouchard drive away.
Yeah, exactly. Bouchard has just kind of gotten lucky here at this point, and that's in no way, shape, or form to take away from the pace here of Phil Bouchard. He has drove an absolutely spectacular race and turned it on when he needed to do. But if we hadn't seen this battling from the group behind, I would say Bouchard would still probably be 2 seconds up the road.
Porsche Center Edmonton's Vincent Trepanier chasing Etienne Leger for a top 5 spot as the teammates battle for second ahead of them. Good run here by the 87 up onto the front straight. This should be good enough to close that gap all the way down. But 5 minutes remain here, about 4 laps left of racing.
Yeah, Trepanier going to back off there going into the corner. Doesn't want to risk it here at this point. A little bit of a wide run there for Leger. Trepanier certainly knows that. He's going to try to hold in behind here, see if he can get the best benefit of the draft as possible and see what he can make work.
And while these two fight, the teammates ahead are nose to tail, but no volatility there because they're working together. I don't know that they're going to have any chance to catch Bouchard, but on the podium for the 88, 888 and the 21 would certainly not be a bad night at all. By the way, Alex Ellis, remember his spin fell to as low as 10th. He remains 10th, but all things considered, whoa, Trepanier, did he make contact there with Guillaume Renault? Or actually, sorry, rather Etienne Leger. Let's have a look at that from high above.
All right, let's take a look here. That's Trepanier in the red and black machine, Leger in that yellow and black. Trepanier is going to fade down to the inside here. Tries to go a little bit later on the binder.
Oh, fair play.
Fair play indeed. They gave each other space. Good, respectful racing.
That was good stuff. At a distance, it looked like there might have been some contact, but closer inspection, nothing of the sort. Here's that battle for second. I don't know how much of it's a battle and how much of this is working together. Now, here's an interesting piece. If you're Levesque and Lacherie, you have the decision to kind of give up a spot to your teammate if you're Levesque, but Levesque is behind the 21 in the points, and the 21's biggest foe, the 58 Racine Fazui, is buried in 17th place. So if I'm this team, I'm going to help Levesque out more than the 21 because I don't think Lacherie needs it quite as bad. DJ, what's your thought?
I kind of agree with you there, Kyle. If we're playing the full team game, you've got to put your money behind the horse that is farther up in the points, and I think you keep Levesque in front. See
how it plays out for them here, and if that battle will continue with lap traffic, though. Big stack up behind. Radisavage is going to lose a spot. Yann Guillaume Renault is going to lose a spot. Matt Adams picked up 2 there. What a climb by Adams.
What an amazing climb there by Adams. I absolutely love that for him as he's now going to be able to bring his way back up through the corner, trying to see what he's able to get. Little bit of consternation.
Yeah, I saw the hands. There it is again. The frustration from the lap traffic potentially being in the way and dropping down to 7th place now. And just behind Jan is Gregory Hoveson. We haven't really talked a lot about him at all tonight. 24th to 8th. What an incredible climb for this driver.
Yeah, we've had a couple of drivers here in the field that have done a really, really good job of just putting in the laps, making everything appear as calm, cool, and collected as possible. And Hoveson, one of those drivers, being able to walk away with the top 10 here at the Red Bull Ring, that's something to hang your hat on.
It is. And by the way, we're asking for Etienne Leger to get a teammate. Well, he has. We'll see if Matt Adams stays behind him, plays for Gunner, or if he'll go by. That's the next thing on the calendar of action here for sure, as we are now 2 laps to go in the final moments of Spielberg Round 4, the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada.
All right, here they go. And once again, this is that teammate communication among the drivers here. Are they going to play nice with each other? What are we going to see here between these two?
Alex Ellis and Andrew Caron. This is a battle for 10th place. This is probably the most volatile one on this lap in this corner. Zoran Radisavage ahead of him, stacked up here. Caron trying to go the long way around, can't do it. And trouble behind. Gustavo Foisier has had an issue. Let's quickly go back and see what has happened to him. And might have just been all on his own here, exiting the first corner.
Yeah, looks like he just carried a little bit too much speed, caught a little bit too much of that exit curbing there. And you noticed on the front end of that number 23 machine, Kyle, there was already some damage. So I wonder if his suspension was a little bit difficult to be able to drive as well.
Yeah, that could have been part of it. Some damage on the car, not helping the case. Etienne Leger, Matt Adams, whoa, there goes Zoran Radisavage. He dove towards the door of Hoveson, but didn't get by or didn't get alongside, so wasn't able to establish overlap and then complete a pass. But let's keep our eyes on this 15 because he is certainly looking hungry as the 2 teammates run nose to tail ahead. That's Matt Adams and Etienne Leger. Final lap for Phil Bouchard. 1 lap to go. Guillaume Levesque in the 888 runs second. He's got his teammate behind. Those 2 could get spicy. So could these, Leger and Adams.
Yeah, they very much could as well. Levesque, Lacherie, Leger, and Adams. These are the 2 that we're going to be watching here at this point. Diving down into the first corner. This is all going to be about setup here if Adams wants to have a run.
And look at this. This is Lacherie leading the points right now over, or right behind, I should say, Racine Fazui coming into the night. But he stays put behind his teammate. That's the plan for these 2, not for these, though. Adams past Leger and to the inside. Guillaume Renault jams the car down there, tried to get overlap. He got it, touched him, and had to fall back in line.
That was a little bit over eager of a move, but good respect there among drivers between Leger and Gagnon Renault. But I think that really scuppered any chance here that Gagnon Renault is going to have to try to fight here going down into Schlossgoal.
And right behind Hoveson, and now Alex Ellis past Radisavage. Ooh, a little bit of a push there. Ellis completes it. His teammate Almeida back up to 13th place, or 14th rather. And here comes the Yangonel Renault. He is here. He wants a spot, salvage something better than a 7th.
Yeah, he's going to try to have a look here. He's really only got 2 corners that he's going to be able to make a run. He had to check up his momentum ever so slightly there coming off of Worth. I think that may be day done and dusted unless he's able to send a big move here into Rint.
Not much he can do about that. Phil Bouchard, though, he has done it. Phil Bouchard wins race 2 of round 4 of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada. Phil Bouchard wins at Spielberg. Guillaume Levesque, La Charite behind him, and Alex L. Oh, there's trouble. Turn 10. And the 15 is got big front end damage and across the line drops down the order. What happened there?
I've got to think that somebody checked up a little bit, maybe got a little bit squirrely coming out of the final corner, and there was contact there, and with the number, I believe that's the 5 of Alex Ellis falling down through the order as well. I think that could be exactly what happened.
Right here, ooh, there it is. Alex Ellis gives him a big shove. And then he comes back on the racetrack right here, takes a swipe. They get together. Wow, there was some drama there.
Yeah, there was indeed. And let's give some credit here to Hovsen. Look at how much damage is on the front end of that car. The fact he was able to get it around, very, very impressive. As we take another look at what happened here. Hovsen just coming back across the track, a little bit of how you doing, a little bit of love touch there, and then they're going to cross over the line.
Wow. So Phil Bouchard, victorious here at Spielberg. There he is, the team Porsche Center Rive Sud team driver. Antoine Lacharite. We got it done in race 1 for Porsche Center Lausanne. Lots of teal and purple atop the standings tonight, DJ.
Yeah, a lot of those drivers able to put in that for those colors, but just talk about a couple of races here. I mean, Bouchard able to run away with it, but that battle for P2 seemed like it never died out. It was absolutely incredible.
Let's have a look at your results for race number 2 of round 4. Here at the Red Bull Ring. Phil Bouchard for Rive Sud, but look at Porsche Center Lausanne. 2nd and 3rd, Mark Motors, 5th and 6th. Great points nights for those Porsche Center team drivers for Adams, Leger, and Levesque and Lacharite. Good night to take home some points in the championship.
Yeah, very good night to be able to take home those points. So you got to feel a little bit bad there for Ian Gagnon Renault. He had the car to be fighting up there all day long. Same with the Markham drivers of Alex Ellis and Swilio Almeida. They had a pretty rough run out there today.
And looking down 11 through 20th, Greg Hoveson, again, some dramas there right at the end. Drops him out of the top 10 for Porsche Center Halifax. Christopher Cook for Team Kelowna up into 12th. Porsche Center Oakville, represented by Roman Yolo, in 13th. Another Markham car, Almeida, 14th place. Disappointing night for Almeida, I think. But again, mistakes by both of those cars, both him and by Alex Ellis, kind of on their own tonight, leaving that hairpin corner. But it's a tough corner for sure.
Yeah, it certainly is a very difficult corner to get right, but plenty of drivers here able to get it right. And oh man, what a series of races. I just can't get over that, Kyle. It was great stuff.
And looking down the rest of the order here, 21 through 30, Arnaud Genet, and the 312, Brody Goebel. Had a good start to the night, didn't finish it as strong as he started. Liam Rudzitas in the 88 in 23rd. Down the rest of the list, we saw Gustavo Foise have some problems as well. But disappointing night certainly for Bergeron in that 12, involved in that crash, as well as some others on this list. Simon Theriault, race 2 didn't go so well. 5 drivers out of this race, DJ.
Yeah, 5 drivers listed as out there. 7, yeah, with McGraw and Bartley there also being listed as out. But Kyle, looks like we've got some folks ready to chat with us here tonight.
Yeah, let's chat first with our 3rd place driver. That is going to be Antoine Lacharite, who finished in 3rd place in this one, right behind a teammate. A fantastic night for points for you, Antoine. Take us through. We already talked about race 1, but race 2 in particular, that one got really exciting up towards the front.
Yeah, it was great. Stay out of trouble. Unfortunately, I punt Guillaume. Very sorry for that. It was 100% by mistake. A bit too aggressive on the braking zone, but at the end of the day, we took great points, both on the podium. Great quality, so super good point for the team, so very happy.
Well, it was certainly an excellent race. As we look back at the dramas in this one, there was a lot of big dives and big moments, especially heading up towards turn number 3 at Remus there. How obviously these cars are pretty on edge in the brakes. You can get on the brakes really, really heavily. How hard could you dive in there relative to other people, and how much adjustment did you have to do over the race as people got more and more aggressive there?
Yeah, it's super hard. You have to pick the line, when there's a big stack up because we are 10 into a second. So we have to choose either we go outside and we can break later and maybe stay out of trouble with the risk of being punted in the inside. So it's very tricky to choose the right line. A lot of time I was super scared, but fortunately we passed through and so very lucky today.
Well, excellent work, Antoine. Congratulations for you and your team, Porsche Center Lausanne. Congratulations. We're going to talk to your teammate up next.
Yes, thank you.
Guillaume Levesque comes home in second for Porsche Center Lausanne. We just talked to your teammate, Guillaume. We talked to Antoine and was really happy about how the day went. How about for you? It seemed like it went really well, but it was certainly aggressive there at the end and some dramas up to the front there with Etienne Leger falling through the order and you guys moving forward.
Yeah, really, really, really happy. We were confident about the pace. Going into this round, we practiced a lot, and yeah, we had really, really good pace, and we needed to push forward to go for the points all night. So yeah, I'm really happy, especially after what happened last round. So yeah, really happy with take those points back.
In terms of the points picture, how much of this is a points play? And talk to me about race 1 in particular. Is there any discussion or strategy around finishing race 1 down the order a little bit to get a better advantage for race 2, or is that not really going to work out in your favor because it's so challenging to pass?
Probably for some people, they have that in mind, but for us, we are all out about the team points, so we know we can push forward in the feature race. So we just go for all out for the sprint and the qualification, and we hope for the best into the feature and just push forward again into the feature. So that's our mindset for this season.
Well, looking forward to the next round. It's at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, another very fast, very drafty racetrack. How do you feel like you and your team are going to do there?
I think we're gonna be ready, especially when it's only 1 week. You have the best pilots gonna go on top because there's less time to practice. So yeah, we are confident about that.
Guillaume, thanks so much for talking to us. Congratulations on a P2 finish here in round 4. We'll talk to you next round at Spa.
Yes. Thanks.
All right, moving on now to our race winner for race number 2. Phil Bouchard wins race 2 of round 4 of the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada. Phil, phenomenal drive there. It got really exciting, battling Etienne Leger and Guillaume and Antoine there. There was a big scrap behind you, but most of it, once you got to the lead, was in the mirror. Take us through.
Oh, yeah, it was a pretty hectic race. I wasn't really confident with my pace coming in. Sprint race was perfect for me, so I wanted to take it slow, just keep the tires alive because the temperature was quite high. Make sure I get enough off tracks also to spare, because we all know that this track is very demanding on off tracks and there's penalties if you take too much. So I was just trying to get one car at a time and trying to not place myself in a position where I could get spun, because it happened a bit too much in the start of the season. So it's good to be back on top. It feels good, actually.
There was a time when that 73 car was up front pretty much persistently. Is this the start of that again? How much does this help your confidence heading into Spa, Road America, Interlagos, and Mosport?
Well, of course, yes, it's a big boost of confidence, but you always need to work hard. Nothing's going to come free, so we'll just try and keep pushing, put on some more laps, more practice, and make sure the pace is as amazing as it could get. To be fair, I'm still not super happy with the pace. There's still some tenths here and there that I was missing. So it's just you just got to keep grinding. Yeah.
Well, Phil, you're doing a great job. You got the win tonight. Congratulations. Enjoy it. Soak it in, and we'll see you at Spa.
See you guys.
See ya. All right, we got Racine Fazui waiting in the wings. Why don't we chat with him one more time and chat about how things ended in this race. Racine, didn't end race 2 as well as race 1, even though race 1 didn't quite end in your favor. Disappointing end, P17 here in race 2. Certainly came in kind of riding a wave on top of the points. How does this change things heading into Spa?
First and foremost, I want to shout out a few people before I forget. I want to shout out Porsche South Shore for the support. I want to shout out Apex Racing Team and Apex Racing Academy, my main team. I want to shout out Phil Bouchard, my teammate. And I want to shout out you guys at the commentary booth and the organization for the series. I just want to say there's a lot of people that put a lot of practice. Okay. I'm not asking for people to let me buy or to let anybody buy, and I'm not asking for whatever. Like, everybody has the right to race. But if you don't put hours and you do mistakes that are not to happen if you were to practice and put in the hours, just beware of who's around you, like, please. Because I took my time, my sweet behind time, to not send anyone. I wanna just give a quick shout out to Stu. It's all good. Giuliano, you good? By the way, there was a moment where you sent it hairpin. I wanted to go for the same hole. It was in the defense. I wanted to go for the exact same hole that you went. I don't know if it was Stu, if it was somebody else. But yeah, like, please, like, respect the lap times, respect the people around you, and just relax, take a breather, and put some more hours. Go back to the drawing board, please.
Well, we're seeing P17, disappointing end for this one, but Spa, Road America coming up, 2 very fast tracks. How do you feel? Do you think you can turn it around at those 2 places?
I hope I don't get spun around. That's what I hope. I'll do what I'll do. Great quality again. I'm just gonna practice. I'm just gonna practice, do the quality, do the sprint like I did. Heads up driving in the main. I do what I can, right? Whatever happens. It's out of my control.
Rasim, thanks for chatting with us. We'll see you next week at Spa.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Peace, guys.
Frustrating end, certainly, for Rasim there, DJ. You could definitely tell. But, you know, he had a little bit of a points advantage, so it won't be quite as bad as it could have been. But you can't control the cars around you. You can only control yours. And tonight, a little bit of both came into factor there. Had a great race 1, but kind of fell into some issues for race number 2. So I feel his frustration for sure. And we're heading into some 2 very, very fast tracks up next. Those being Spa, Road America, and then we head to Interlagos, which is a kind of a handling circuit before Mosport, another very fast track to finish out the season. So, oh boy, it's about to get spicier.
It's going to get as spicy can be here, Kyle. And yeah, I think we are going to have a great end to this season. Obviously, Spa and Road America, 2 of the greatest circuits in the world. And then you've got to include Mosport on that as well. So it's sort of a where's where in terms of going racing. Absolutely love it. And I think we're only going to see better and better action as time goes along.
That's going to do it for us tonight here for the Porsche Esports Sprint Challenge Canada round number 4. Apologies for production tonight. Some issues we got to sort out, so I hope it didn't affect too much. Got a lot of the action up front covered, though, for you, so we'll see you next week at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. We're going to go from Austria to Belgium for race number 5, April 20th, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you there.